Hi, this is Steve Woodhouse here with a special edition of Espresso TV. We're here tonight celebrating the completion of the new renovation of the conference center here at Boz Landon. And Mayor DeWard is also taking advantage of the opportunity to share more information about the recreation center. We've had a pretty good turnout. We're hoping to catch some folks to get their thoughts on the future of the recreation center. Should we support it or should we not? The council is still set to vote on that on December 5th. So just stay tuned. Hi, Steve Woodhouse here. We're hanging out, learning more about the Recreation Center here tonight, public gathering. And with me right now is Community Services Director Jeanette Vaughn, who's going to kind of run the place when it's all done. So, Jeanette, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. We got a lot of fun things to show everyone.
And we just talked to the mayor about this a bit ago, but you still have some more details that he didn't quite know. So, can you kind of fill us in on that?
Sure. As far as our event tonight, or
just in general information?
Just in general information.
Yeah. So I think probably the first important information is out at the Pella Sports Park location. We have 105 acres out there, so we have a great location for this, where we already have a lot of activity going on. The facility is basically into two wings, an aquatic side and a gym side. So kind of as you walk in, you'll go left for the gyms, right for the pools. And then we also have a nice outdoor area as well for events. We have a place for food trucks to set up. On those bigger tournaments, it's hard to do it with just concessions. So we've even thought ahead about that. The parking at the rec center will also help out with parking at the sports park complex. So it's kind of a win-win.
And has everybody seen the wages or the fees to participate in recreation center plans?
Yeah, we introduced those at council a few meetings ago, and we'll be going over them again here tonight, and we can get you information to show as well.
So we're still early on here. Looks like you're having a pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
All right, were you expecting a very big turnout tonight, or what were you prepared for?
Yeah, I think we were expecting a lot of folks to come in. We have some new information to share. Some of the elements of the facility are on display here. We have our first kind of official giveaway and merch, as I like to say, for Pella Rec. So limited time option items. So come and get it while it lasts.
And of course, if there's more information people want to get, they just email you, or is there a website set up for it?
They can reach out to me. There's also a page dedicated on the city's website. So if you go to this cityofpella.com and just put in Pella Rec, you'll come to a page that has all the information about when it's been brought to council, some of those different discussions, renderings of the project, information on how you can help.
All right. Anything more you want to add, Jeanette? Are you good?
No, just we're excited to have this facility in our community. So reach out to me if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Welcome back. We're joined now by Pella Mayor Don DeWard. Welcome, Don.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. So good turnout so far. What do you hope to accomplish tonight?
Well, it's really a twofold event tonight. We want to introduce people to the refurbished Boss Conference Center. Obviously, we had some water damage a while back and kind of destroyed a lot of it, and so it's all been redone. So we want people to come out and look at that. But we also want to talk about the rec center. The proposed rec center. We want to give the general public as much information as we can about it, because we would like to have as many people that are interested in it to help us pay for it. And so it's a combination introduction with some information, but also to try to talk to people about how they can help make the project happen.
And looking around up here, there's new carpet, there's new ceiling, new lights, everything up here. I think it turned out really well. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think they did a good job. One of the really key updates for this conference center is the addition of the elevator, which there wasn't an elevator before, and so it's really a three-level area, and so to have the elevator really allows pretty much any kind of event can happen here now. So that's a really good upgrade.
And of course, over here on the tables, there are samples of the materials that are going to be used at the rec center. How did you go about choosing those?
Well, I wasn't part of the design at all of this. Jeanette Vaughn, our rec director for the city of Pella, has been heavily involved with our architects. We also had an 11-member group of citizens that were part of the planning process, and so they're the ones that have gone through and all this detail and working with the architects, obviously, to pick out what kind of materials, what this whole project looks like, the design and all that. I think they did a great job. So I can't take any credit for that, but I do like what I see.
And like we talked about the other day, we're about 17 million in private donations so far. I know you're going to keep fundraising, but are you close to that goal, or do you really have a goal for the private?
Well, I want to obviously raise as much as we can. We're talking about a $39 to $40 million project, and so there's still some room. We need to fill that funding gap. And again, we don't, these are architect estimates, which have quite a bit of contingency in them. So, we want to get to a bid, so we know exactly what that number is, so that we can know exactly. But yeah, I'd like to raise 19 to 20 million dollars, and that's a big number, but it's very attainable, I think, with the success we've had so far.
And of course, the big vote is still scheduled for December 5th, as far
December
as
5th, yeah, is kind of an agreement we have with City Council that we would vote to move the project forward at that time. So we got a little work to do, but it's fun kind of work. People are excited about it. I get asked a lot about this project, and so people are interested, and I think people are going to really step up and help make it a reality.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. To run through a little presentation about the rec center. Obviously, we've got displays. You guys can look. We've got some snacks. We got some drinks. So we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation. We'll do this more than once throughout the evening, but the purpose of what we're doing here tonight is really twofold. Number one, we wanted to introduce the public to our new conference center. As some of you are aware, we had a water pipe break here a couple of years ago probably that did a number on a lot of this facility, and so fortunately we had good insurance coverage, so we were able to redo this whole facility. And one of the things that happened, if you'd been out here before, the old facility, we did not have an elevator, but the insurance company helped us pay for putting in an elevator. And so we're still, as a city, we're still working out how we're going to use it, what we're going to do with that. It's just gotten finished, and so we aren't using it a lot yet, but at some point it'll be another option for some kind of a conference center. The other thing we want to talk about is the rec center tonight, a project that we've been discussing now for 2.5 years. You've seen a lot of information about it, I'm sure, but I want to give you more information, and I'll also want to answer any questions that you might have. We started, from a city standpoint, officially our first meeting talking about a long-term facility plan for the city of Pella was in April of 2022. At that point, we talked about a rec center, redoing our community center. So that was the long-term facility plan we talked about. We also talked about adding or extending University Street out to our sports park and beyond. That was all part of the discussion that we started having. So we had some discussions about that, and then in June of 2020, we appointed a 11-member citizen group along with our staff to plan a facility. We didn't have any particular plan of a facility. We kind of knew what we wanted, knew what we needed. And so that group did a really good job the rest of 2022 working with the architect. Their first job was to pick an architect. I think we sent out a request for proposals from architects. I believe we got 9. Is that right, Mike? I think there were 9 firms that were interested. The first job of the team that was working on it was to select an architect, and so they did that. They chose Shive Hattery out of Des Moines, who, they have offices in more places than Des Moines, but they've had a lot of experience with these kind of facilities. The group felt like they would be the best option to plan the facility. So the rest of 2022, they worked on a plan, and what we see tonight is what they came up with. We had a couple public input meetings. where they talked about the plan. People were allowed to come in and look and make comments, what they might want to change, those kind of things. But by January 2023, this plan was in place. One thing I've neglected to say, prior to that April discussion we had at the city about the rec center, I had spent some time with some of our larger employees finding out if they were willing to support a project like this, because I knew it was going to take significant amount of private money to make a project like this happen. I was also that night on that April meeting able to announce we had $12 million pledged from 3 of our larger corporations that before we ever started, we had $12 million pledged for that. So we went through the process of planning in January of 2023. I formed a fundraising group, and we started to do some more fundraising on top of the $12 million that we had pledged already. Most of that we targeted towards smaller businesses around town, making available to them naming opportunities within the facility. Like, you know, when you see after a while, we've got gyms, we've got scoreboards, we've got seating, we've got all kinds of things that people pledge to make contributions in exchange to get their name somewhere on those areas of the facility. Met with great success, great success. We had a ton of smaller businesses that really liked the idea, and so they made commitments. So we were able to go from $12 million up to $15 million pretty quickly. Again, when you think about it, that's pretty phenomenal support for a project like this. And so we were headed towards a bid process last February we wanted to get to bids, because until we get to bids, we don't know the real number. And you know, architects' estimates are architects' estimates. I'm sure they're fairly accurate, but we don't know for sure till we get bids. Anyway, we kind of got stopped with the process in February. Had to kind of regroup and go back and kind of restart it with some things that have to happen for City Council to move this project forward. One of those is to raise some more money, and so that's what we're doing. We with this meeting tonight, we're trying to open it up to anybody that wants to support. I get asked all the time about where's the project at, where's the project at. So we want to give everybody, any citizen of Pella, the opportunity to support this project financially, or however you want to support it. We'll take that support. But that's what we're doing tonight with that. So I'm going to run through talk a little bit about the facility itself. Some of you probably have already seen this. Some of you may not. But from a community need, people go, why do we need this? Well, I think, especially when I talk to our larger employers, and the fact that they were willing to pledge the kind of money that they pledged, said a lot about how important it is to them, because we are incredibly blessed as a community to have the businesses that we have here. We have, you know, some very large businesses for a small community like we are. And one of their challenges is competing for talent. That's something they face each and every day. And they are in competition against the best of the best. And so, and if you pay attention, you see how much money they have invested in the community to help that with community amenities. Talk a lot about housing. They've stepped up and helped us in housing in a lot of different ways. Also, the other thing is community amenities. They're competing with companies from all over the United States for talent, and a lot of the times their question when they trying to recruit somebody, people will say, oh, it's a great company, your pay is great and all that, but I got to live in Pella, and I live in Chicago now, or I live in Boston now. What am I going to do in Pella? So it's really important to them to try to create a community that is attractive to the people that they need to grow. And I hope all of us understand as citizens of Pella how important those companies are to our community. Without them, we don't have what we have. I guarantee you we don't have what we have. And so we never want to take them for granted. The world is ever changing, and so we want to make sure and try to work with them, and their willingness to step up and support things the way they do makes us a whole lot easier for us. So anyway, so do we need this facility? I think we do. I think we do. So go ahead. Just some of the things that it's going to provide: attract new residents. Again, that falls in line with our workforce. One thing that Pella has is a really strong demand for work, has a lot of jobs, and so to fill those jobs, we need people. We already have an incredibly vibrant tourism industry here. When a company like Quickstar, who, if you've been paying attention, are planning on building a gas station, or I don't know, I shouldn't call it a gas station. They're much more than a gas station. But when they look at our sales tax numbers, they say, no, they're wrong. They can't be. A community this size cannot generate that kind of sales tax. Well, we do, because of our incredible tourism industry, and this is only going to add to it. It's only going to be, I say all the time, and I know I'm the mayor of Pella, so I have to say this, but I truly mean it. People want to come to Pella. They love to come to Pella, and this is one more reason for them to come to Pella. In case you haven't been paying attention, the youth sports market is incredible, the amount of money that's being spent for youth sports these days. So with a facility like this, that's going to allow us to capture some of that. And had a consulting firm do a kind of an estimate of what kind of revenue a facility would generate. Not just the facility, not in the facility, but the rest of the community. They're saying somewhere between $5 and $6 million of economic activity spread out throughout the community. You're talking about restaurants, hotels, all those things that happen when these tournaments are held. And their estimate is very conservative, in my opinion, on how much activity there will be. But, and the other thing with this facility and the extension of University Street out there, it's going to spur economic development on the east side of town. We know what's going on over on the other side of town. Unbelievable housing and economic development. We need something on that side of town. And with a facility like this out there, with extending the road out there, I've had several conversations with commercial developers, residential developers. They're just waiting. They're ready to invest. They're ready to develop property out there. So just so this picture shows where the facility will be. University Street runs across in front of the schools. The north side of our sports park is where the facility will sit. Again, the plan is to extend University Street out for a mile and then also extend Baseline Drive. How many of you go out to a soccer game on Thursday night for a grandkid or a kid and spend 25 to 30 minutes trying to park and get in and out? It's a mess. It's a mess. So if nothing else, if we didn't even do the rec center, this is critical to our current sports park to create some more ways in and out of that facility. So what this will do with the road is extending Baseline Drive, extending University. Now in reality, you have 3 different ways you can get in and out. That's going to alleviate so much congestion. The other thing with the new rec center, there's also 300 more parking spaces around that facility in the plans. And so that's going to help too. Obviously, there will be some times when both the outdoor facility, indoor facility are going to be working at the same time, but there's a lot of times where there'll be outdoor events, maybe not so much indoor, and so that parking is really going to help. And it'll all be tied together with sidewalks and walkways and that kind of thing. So that's where it's going to be. There's a good picture how it lays with the current field. So those fields are what are currently there. So most of you, or a lot of you probably know that the current sports park, there was a group called Fields of Our Futures that started back in the mid-2000s to work on this facility. Great. It was something we needed badly as a community. It was a great answer. We had them in on the conversation very early on when we started talking about the location for this facility, because I didn't want to mess up any long-term plans that they had. Through those discussions, those guys said we had always thought we'd have an indoor facility out there. That was all part of the plan from the beginning. So they're very excited about it. There were some guys that put a lot of work in that project, and we have what we have. But this location where it is does not infringe on any future fields that they had in mind originally. So this will fit in there nicely. So this is just some architect's rendering from the outside, and again, it's Pella, so it needs to have some kind of a Dutch, and I've been assured by the architects that this really is a Dutch design. It's a modern Dutch design, and it was interesting. I went to Lely for a presentation to them about supporting this, and at the time they had a intern that was working from them from the Netherlands. And when I pulled this picture up of the facility, she goes, "Well, that's Lely's headquarters." She said it looks exactly like Lely, so I'm satisfied that it's Dutch. If it's Lely, if it looks like Lely's headquarters, it's Dutch. So anyway, it's beautiful, beautiful design. So some details about the facility itself. There's an aquatic side and there's a gym side of the facility that's been planned. So we'll start on the left on the aquatic side. So there's 2 swimming pools in the plan for the new facility. The one on top is the recreation pool. That is, I've been told that's the same water surface as our current indoor pool. So it's the same size, basically water surface as what we currently have from an indoor pool. It's got a couple other neat features. 0 entry at the top, some kids features there. The little, I don't know what you call it. What do you call it? A resistance channel. So that water will actually be moving kind of like a lazy river, but it's something where people can walk against the current. It's really great for exercise. There's a 2-story slide into the pool, and then there's basically like 4 lanes of swimming area. I see all our T-shirts here of our water aerobics group who love the swimming pool, and this will be even better than what we have now for that. That'll be a warm pool, and so I think it'll our current indoor pool, let's face it, we need an upgrade. It's almost 50 years old, served the community well, but it's time for something new and different. And then the other pool is a competition. That's an 8-lane, 25-meter competition swimming pool that qualifies to host any high school or college swim meet. So Central College, in conversation with them, they're interested in starting a swimming program once they have a pool available. We have a ton of youth that travel to Newton or Oskaloosa for swimming. And it's been interesting in having conversation with parents because a lot of them, their young children go swimming. They have to go to Newton every day to swim. By the time they get to junior high and high school, they kind of encourage them to give up swimming because they're just plain sick of driving to Newton. And you could understand that at 6 o'clock in the morning driving. And so they're really excited about having a competition pool here where they could do have all those meets, all those things here. So that's an 8-lane competition swimming pool with, on the bottom side here, there's seating for 500 to watch a swim meet. Because I've been told there's a lot of people show up for swim meets. It involves a lot of people. And so there's big crowds that come. So that will be part of that indoor or the competition pool. Now the center spine in between the aquatic center and the gyms, that on the first floor, we're looking at the first floor. There's locker rooms. Obviously, we need locker rooms for the swimming side. We need locker rooms for the gym side. There's a concession area there. Bring all these people. Going to have some food on site to feed them. So there's a concession area. There's a kind of an all-purpose room up by the entrance. I should have a pointer, but this up here is the main entrance into the facility. And so that main entrance has a kind of a large atrium. There's an all-purpose room. The idea would be that it won't be child care, but there will be a place for kids, parents, if they want to come and work out, there will be people there. They can leave their kids in that room while they go work out for an hour or so, and somebody will watch their kids for them. So that's kind of what's in the middle, and the atrium there. And then the gym side, that's 4 regulation high school gyms. So that translates into a minimum of 4 gyms to have tournaments. For smaller kids, they can be cut in half, so you could end up with 8 gyms, courts for some of the smaller kids' tournaments. They'll all have curtains around them so they can be isolated. We have a lot of interest from the schools in using these gyms for some of their practices because they just don't have enough gym space and a time, and so be able to separate those gyms so that they can be used by different people. It'll allow for 4 volleyball courts and 12 pickleball courts. I know how important pickleball is here in Pella, so that ought to be music to the pickleballers' ears to have 12 indoor pickleball courts. So all the lines, everything will all be painted for all of that. Equipment will be there to do that. And the other thing, go back, one more thing. There's some bleachers at each end of the gym, each floor. I've been to some of my grandkids' little kid basketball games, and sometimes I'm sitting on a chair and my toes are on the out of bounds line because there's just no room. So that was all part of this too, is to make sure there was room, and there will be seating for people, spectators. So then the other side shows the second level above the pool. Did I forget anything, Jeanette? Oh yeah, on the bottom of that, there's going to be a bouldering wall. It's called. Rock climbing and bouldering are pretty popular. Bouldering walls are not as high, and they have more width, not as much height. They're not as dangerous, and kids can climb around and jump around and stuff. So that intention is to have that on the end of where the gyms are. Very popular. And then the second level shows some more of the seating in the pool area. You got some more of the seating to watch pool. And then in the center is the cardiovascular area. They're up at the top, that kind of brown room, that's just a big open room where dance can happen, aerobics, whatever else can happen there. And then the blue area, that's a spin room for stationary bike enthusiasts, to workout area. And then the darker area there, that is all cardiovascular, treadmills. Jeanette sent me over a picture of what's all in there: treadmills, cross trainers, weights, all that kind of stuff. And just so everybody understands, right now there's at the old Pella Rec building that Pella Corp purchased and converted quite a bit of it into daycare, but there's still workout facility. The idea is when this facility is done, that will close, and so the people that are members there working out there will have this facility to do those same workouts. And this is slightly larger than what they have there now. And then there's some more, I think there's some locker rooms there too. And there's a walking track that will be open to the 4 gyms. So there'll be a 4-lane walking track around with, if you see in the corners, there will be a place for some kind of machine. People like to walk and then stop and ride a bike or something for a little bit in the workout. I think that'll be very, very popular, especially in January, February, and March in Iowa. Great place to go walk. I know people are walking at the hospital and Third Church and everywhere else. So I think that'll be quite a popular place. So that's kind of the big overview of the facility itself. So yeah, this is just kind of a list and the architect's rendering. I really like that picture in the bottom, thinking about having those gyms with all kinds of kids playing down there and a bunch of adults walking around, looking down on them as they play. I think that'll be a very, very popular area for the whole community. I just want to stress this facility is going to meet the needs of our entire community, from little kids up to guys older than me. So it's certainly designed to meet a lot of needs of the community. Here's just kind of a breakdown of our planned fees. I'm not sure exactly how that compares to what we do now with our pool. I think it's maybe a little higher, but it's similar to that. If you have need more details about the cost to be members and stuff, Jeanette has all of that information. This is just kind of a quick overview of the cost to use the facility, because we will have to charge user fees for the facility, because there's obviously a lot of ongoing costs to managing and running the facility. The other thing to mention, with the extension of University Street, there'll also be a bike trail added next to University Street, which I think is really important. So if you think about the bike trail, it runs in front of the high school and the new school there. And we redid University Street by the new tennis facility there. There's a 10-foot wide bike trail there. So the plan is to widen that to 10 feet all the way. Some of it is 10 feet now in front of the schools, some is not. The idea is to widen that to 10 feet so that we have a bike trail all the way out, and then with the new section on University, kids could bike safely to the new sports park, which right now they can't. I don't think there's any way for kids to safely bike, because your only option is down the old highway, and there's nowhere to go and a lot of cars. So that'll really be an important part of it. So now, if you think about it, where we redid it up on University Street, and the bike trail comes up to Main Street, we're about 3 blocks yet to fill in. Once that's all done, you'll be able to bike from Boss Landon all the way to the sports park on a bike trail. I think that's kind of exciting. From a funding standpoint, our latest architect's estimate is the high end is 41.2. They've said somewhere between 39 and 41 million. We started talking about this from the very first time we talked about it, using half of our local option sales tax revenue, projected local option sales tax revenue over the next 20 years to pay for a $17 million bond that the city would contribute to the project. Right now, and I think the $16,913,000 is right up to date of private money that we've had pledged for the facility, which is, again, pretty phenomenal. So we're trying to fill that funding gap. We'll also be applying for a Vision Iowa grant that I think we have a really good chance of getting from the state of Iowa. And so we'll be looking at other funding sources. So that's where you come in. You're going to help us fill that gap. Everybody that wants to help get this facility off the ground and going. So the timeline is this December 5th, I think, to be exact, is our city council, where we're going to talk about it and talk about going to the bid phase. If the city council approves it, We would go to bid in January and February of 2025. I think that's a 45-day process, maybe 50 to 60-day process. Hopefully we can break ground in the spring of 2025, and it's probably an 18-month. We put spring of 2027 if things would go well. Could maybe happen by late fall in 2026 is kind of the timeline there. So thanks for coming. Thanks for your interest in the project. I will be more than happy to answer any questions anybody has. We have some brochures that show all of this information. We have some pledge forms. If you're interested in helping financially, you can fill one of those out and get those back to City Hall. I think we're live this close to being able to take credit cards. If you're interested in making a donation using a credit card, you can go on the city's website. There's a link there, a button there to be able to make donation over online. Also, PACE's website will be connected, so you can go to the PACE website, which has a whole bunch of good information about the project, and you can also donate through that website. So, again, thanks for coming. Questions? It's always... That's a good question. We haven't totally decided how we would manage it. Obviously we could choose as a city to hire our own staff to run it. We could also hire a company that would come in, and there's a lot of those, whether potentially could be a YMCA or somebody like that has a lot of experiences running these types of facilities. I think we'll have some interest from some firms that'll be interested in doing that. So that's something we will have to have a discussion about and weigh it out. So your question can lead to operating cost of this. So we had a consultant that did that for us, and they came back with about a $460,000 operating deficit for the facility. We will close our current indoor facility, runs at about a $200,000 deficit now. So we will close the current indoor facility, which would eliminate that operating deficit. So based on some conservative estimates, we potentially could have a $250,000 operating deficit. But I would remind you that also our consultant's talking about $5 to $6 million of economic activity generated by the facility throughout the rest of the community. And so to me, that's worth it. And we don't know, obviously. You estimate fees, and you estimate how many people will use the facility, but we're building that into our plan, yes. Anything else? Yes?
I had thought that there would be a running track around there, but you can't run?
Yeah, you can run. Yeah, it's a four-lane track. Well, yeah, most people walk, but yeah, I've been to a couple facilities just like this that have a track around gyms like that. Most of them have like 2 lanes designated for runners and 2 lanes for walkers. So, but yes, definitely you can run. I think it's a little over 1/10 of a mile, maybe, around. Yes.
So you're talking about Mallard King, right?
Yeah.
Where can we find that?
City Hall has a copy. You have a copy of the whole 68-page consultant report on boat. Huh? It's on the website. It's on PACE's website. So yeah, it's quite a lengthy. Consultants like to justify their fees, so they make sure and print up a lot of pages. No, I think Ballard King that's who we use for some of these estimated costs and operating, and I think they're a very reputable firm when it comes to this, so. So let me, yes.
Is there a reason that it has to be so elaborate? Like, to me, it looks like a cathedral with all that glass and stuff. Is that necessary? Does that kind of help cut the cost?
Yeah, I wasn't part of the planning process, and so I don't know if that added a bunch of cost or not. Like I said, I stayed away from the planning process, so I don't know. Jeanette maybe can answer that.
I think when you look at the glass is done intentionally, that allows daylight in during the day, so you don't have to run your utilities as much. So it'll save on like lighting costs and that type of thing. So it's attractive, but it also serves a purpose as well.
Yeah, I'm sure putting up a metal shed would be cheaper, but I don't think we want to do that. I don't think we want to do that here.
No, I don't mean that.
No, I know.
So elaborate for a rec center, but yet it's built. So.
You had a question?
I just wondered, is this, say, if some are put off by the cost, kind of going without how elaborate it is it possible to come back with another committee and say, what if we cut this, and made it a smaller scale, still meet most of the needs, but maybe significantly higher costs?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that's possible, and that'll all depend on, when we get bids and we know the real cost. I've always said we're not going to build more than we can afford, and so depending where the final cost ends up in our fundraising efforts, yeah, those are questions that'll have to be answered when we get there. Yes. If you think about it, right now we got almost $17 million of private. If we were to not go through with this project with that kind of money from a community, if I lived in Knoxville or somewhere, I'd just laugh and go, "What? Are you serious? You got that kind of money pledged to a facility and you're not going to go through with it?" This doesn't happen anywhere. I watch. There's these kind of facilities are being built in every suburb in Des Moines. Not one have I seen with the kind of private support we've generated. Not one. And you're talking about Waukee, Grimes, Bondurant, West Des Moines. Nobody has had the kind of support that we've had here. Just to give you an example of how the support. So Vermeer Charitable Foundation pledged $5 million way back when, the first time that we talked about this. I visited with their board, told them the project. I asked them for $5 million. They said yes, they would do $5 million. When we resurrected the fundraising effort, I went back to Vermeer and I met with their board again. I said, need to raise some more money. So I met with them on a Tuesday. The next Wednesday, I got a phone call from the chair of their board. They pledged another $1 million. So now they're pledging $6 million. Pella Corporation has pledged $6 million. That's pretty phenomenal support for a project. If anybody wonders if the community is in support of this or they're in support of this, that's a pretty emphatic answer that yes, they are very much in support of it. And so the other thing they also did at the same time is they pledged $500,000 for the community center on top of the $6 million for the rec center. So I just want everybody to appreciate what we have here, what happens here. That doesn't happen in a lot of places. So yes, we obviously have to have the funds to build the facility. And we will know that when we get bids, we'll know the real number. And if we have to make adjustments, we'll do it. Yes?
Two-part question. First, so how are they financing bond issue?
Yeah, a lot of them are using local option sales tax, and Urbandale, they tried to. They were talking about a $44 million. Bob, if you know Bob Andaway, Pella guy, is actually the mayor there. They were talking about a $44 million new aquatic center, And I talked to Bob about it, and he was not happy with his city council, but they just went right out and said, we're funding it all with a bond issue, a property tax bond issue. Well, it failed miserably. And so I knew I would never go to the community and ask them to fund this with property tax. That's why before we ever talked about it, I tried to get some commitments from our larger employers before we ever had the discussion, because I knew that was going to be important for it to work for us. And so there's, there certainly is the big new facility out on Grand Avenue in West Des Moines. One of the power companies put in like 15 million or 10 million or something like that. But so yeah, there's different ways. And you had a second part? Yeah.
What has to happen before you?
Well, we kind of had an agreement that I don't remember, where there were 5 or 6 contingencies that the council said they would push this forward if some of these contingencies were met. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is get all those contingencies met. Most of them are met. The one we still have some funding that we need to work on, but most of the other stuff we've got it figured out. So yes.
So,
Yeah, you.
so I've had a lot of people ask me about the article on KNHRLS with the school. Could you
Yeah.
please explain that?
Well, I'd love to explain it to you. So what I did at the board meeting the other day was a continuation of a discussion I've had with the school district. This project is really important to the school district. It's going to alleviate, like I said, they're going to start a swimming program. It's going to alleviate a ton of pressure on the school district from a space and gym standpoint. So way back in 2022, or maybe it was 2023, I went to the school board and I asked them to support it to the tune of $5 million, because I think that they're going to get that much value out of this. Well, they, at the time, obviously, if you know, they had just passed a $40 million bond issue. They were spending $57 million on facilities with the Early Learning Center, the middle school Jefferson deal, the tennis facility, and then the stadium. So all of that. So they just didn't have at that point in time, they didn't have the money to invest in this project. But I continued to have conversation with them, because I think it's really important that they're part of this, making this happen, because it's going to benefit the school district. So they have the 25 acres of land south of Madison School that they bought a few years ago. They don't have any future plans right now for that, and so I said, I'd like you to consider giving that to the city, because the other thing we need, along with this facility, is places to build houses. We need lots. That'd be a great place for a housing development. So I simply asked them to consider giving that land to the city. We can take it. We can either sell it to a developer, or we can work on getting it developed, but it becomes $1 million asset. It's about what it's worth. Most land's been selling for $40,000 an acre around the edges of town. And so that'd be $1 million of contribution from the school to this project. It was simply an ask. They talked about it. That's where it's at. They had some questions that they want to answer themselves, and I would also like everybody to know that the city just gave the school 5 acres where the tennis facility is. So this isn't something new, like we just dreamt this up. We just gave them 5 acres of prime development ground in the middle of town, which probably is worth more than the $40,000. We gave that to the school for the tennis facility. So we've worked in partnership with the school, and so I think it's a legitimate ask, and their board will have to decide. I felt like I got some pretty favorable feedback from the board that there's something they're going to talk about, and that they're interested in doing that. So that would obviously help our funding gap with the school participating. We also went to the county. because I think Marion County has a vested interest in being part of this project, because this is going to be a huge asset for Marion County. You know, we're going to elect Jim this fall. Maybe he'll figure that out, because we didn't get very far talking to the county about them helping this project out, even though they're going to be a huge beneficiary of a project like this. But anyway, we started out looking for funding sources everywhere we could to get this facility built. Yes?
Just general information, I found out today, City of Marion is building a new rec facility. That's being done with general obligation bonds.
Yeah.
If they wrangle them to be double tax exempt.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, Mark, I don't know if you heard him, he said the City of Marion is just going to build a new facility, and they're going to fund it with general obligation property tax bonds. I'm trying to get this done without property tax being part of the construction of it. Now, property tax can come into play when it comes to operations, because the city's budget is you know, we have all these facilities and all these different things that we fund, so that could be part of it. But from a construction standpoint, I think we can get it done without any property tax being part of that, of building it. Yes?
Would you consider doing like phases?
Yeah, we'll consider, you know, like I say, depending on the numbers, where we're at with fundraising, where the bids come in. If we don't have everything we need to do the whole thing, we certainly would have to have conversation, because I think we've got to move it forward in some way. Yes?
So with this project, obviously it's more, formalized, I guess, in terms of a pay schedule, all of that. And I'm not totally up to date with like the intention of this versus the community center. But I'm just thinking about the lack in the community for, younger kids, moms that are at home and missing that space of like someplace to run and play in the gym.
Yeah.
Is the hope that the community center renovation will fulfill that need, since this isn't accessible for a mom to come in with 5 kids and pay like a day fee to run around for an hour?
Yeah, have you seen the latest community center plan?
I haven't been able to see.
Yeah, so I think you should all go look. I think it's a great plan. Kind of adding a new elevator lobby on the east side of the building, cutting down some of the hillside, making a plaza area. But yeah, the intention is to totally renovate the interior, which would, and I believe that the plan has the old gym space turned into an all-purpose area. So yes, that would be available.
Like what it was before, where it was
Yeah.
sort of a free open space.
Yep. I think that's the plan. I would encourage you to have conversation with the Friends of the Community Center if you want to know more details. They know more than I, but that's what I've seen, and I like that plan.
We're fundraising for that project too, so.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, because I know like in all these conversations, like that's been a big part of it, is this is obviously a higher, it's very comparable in terms of gyms and monthly fee things, but for those who that's not accessible for them, to still have a space in our community for that.
Yeah. So the idea is to restore that facility to a lot of its current uses. There's a couple things that probably won't be in there, because we have another facility that we can move some stuff to. But yeah, plan is to fix that up also.
Okay. I think, we've got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Did you address the extension of East University?
Yes. What do you need to know about it?
It's getting along with it.
Yeah, we are working diligently on that, and I feel real good about that project being able to move forward. Yeah, Tim.
Is there any idea or any thought of using like local contractors at all? I live in Prairie Ridge, and it's very few to zero contractors from this town.
Yeah.
Or even this county. Is there any hope of that whatsoever?
Well, obviously, with a project of this size, we'd have to hire somebody that's capable, a big general contractor. And yes, we certainly would encourage, I don't know that we can, I don't know, Mike knows more about that process, but I would hope that we would have, that our local contractors could certainly be part of it.
Mayor, would you like to finish?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. The project we did under Iowa's competitive bid laws, and under law, we're required to give the project to the lowest responsible bidder. So likely a general contractor will bid on this project, but there'll be subcontractors and individual bid packages on that. And we believe that local contractors will have the ability to bid on the project as such, as well as the general.
Sure. I just noticed that Prairie Ridge, I mean, those are all individual houses, and we didn't use anybody local. So that's why I'm curious, you know, when we're building a project like that, you're expecting the local
Yeah.
people to pay for it.
Yeah, well, the difference there is all those individual houses, that's up to the owner of the house who they pick to choose. And, huh?
I didn't have that choice.
Well, you bought a house that a contractor had built. I mean, you made that decision, but with the city, and we can't, I'm sure we can't say under law we have to take the lowest bidder and this and that, but we can certainly, and hopefully we'll have local contractors that'll be part of the process. You know, our consultant's estimate is for what, $50 to $60 million of local economic activity during the construction, just locally in Marion County, and then even statewide, it's even bigger number than that during the construction process. So, well, great questions, and again, thank you all for coming. You know, when you have something like this, you're never sure how many people are going to show up. Very pleased with the number of people that showed up, and anybody that has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to answer them. Our fundraising team is Dave Sutphin, Sherry Tegrotenheis, Kyle Nelson, Donna Smith. Is Donna here? She's hiding in the back. Donna Smith, Bob Zylstra, is he still here? So if you want to talk to anybody about fundraising, we still have naming opportunities for some things in the facility. If you're interested in that, reach out to any one of those guys or myself, and we can have a conversation. But again, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. We're around. We're going to be here till 7:30. So if you got questions, come and ask them.
So, Karen, what did you think about the presentation that Mayor DeWard gave tonight?
He always gives a good presentation, but tonight he covered a lot of great information that we get questions on. I think they're commonly asked questions, so that's always a great plan. A lot of good feedback tonight, too. So a really good presentation, a really great opportunity to find out more.
And we've spoken before about what kind of benefit the Recreation Center could provide to PACE and to your businesses that support you. Has that changed at all, or do you think it'll become even bigger than what you originally thought?
I've always had great vision for this facility. We know it's going to bring in a lot of visitors. It's a great recruitment tool for employees, for our employers. So just seeing that come to fruition, some of the projections, is always a great thing. This is going to bring a lot of people to our community, and that, of course, is what we want.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.